Good morning, good evening time, good afternoon time, whatever time it is in your part of the world. As you can see, we got Frank stripped all the way down, buck naked. And he ain't liking being buck naked with everybody looking at him. But it is what it is. No batteries, no super cap, no nothing. Cleaning Frank up, taking some measurements. We about to build this humongous battery for Frank. It's gonna be bodacious, ain't no doubt about it. And Frank is going to do the damn thing. And I got a little story to tell you guys. I almost made a terrible mistake. Y'all would have been so mad at me. I would have been so damn mad at myself. But anyway, I'm going to tell y'all about it in a few. But yeah, Frank is about to get, damn, what do you call them? We call them when the ladies get pampered. They go get a massage and pedicure and all that kind of stuff. Frank about to have a spa day. Absolutely. Yeah, he's a gangster, but even gangsters deserve a spa day after all, putting in a whole bunch of hard work. But absolutely. Y'all stand by for a minute. I forgot one thing. I'm gonna run back in the house, and when I come back, it's story time. Just a couple months. Haven't been in the e-bike game long at all. You know? And Frank was my first e-bike and my first smarted bike. I told you I'm a lifetime DIY guy, a lifetime hobbyist, and a lifetime electronics engineer by trade, certified, with paperwork, not no back alley. But yeah, that has all those things together has helped me excel in the e-bike world pretty quickly. But yeah, anyway, I'm saying all this to say I almost made a mistake selling Frank. And one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to get a lot of hate for. And because I know it's a lot of Super 73 fanboys out there, man, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Y'all like y'all bikes, that's fine. But I've had a chance to play with both and mod both, ride both, and let me tell you, you might not want to believe me, but that bike right there, that Zugo Rhino, is 100 times more solid of a bike than a damn Super 73. Look at that frame. Look at the tubing on the frame. Also notice that the top part right here is double tubing with all these things going across. All that gives you extra stability. Look how thick those tubes are in the back. Look how thick this main tube is right here. And the reason why I stress all that is because I'm not sure if Frank and the Super 73 are made out of the exact same materials, but I'm going to tell you honestly, and this is 100%, I do not tell no lies, my word is my bond on my channel. That bike right there that costs half of a Super 73, matter of fact, it might even be 1/3 of a Super 73 right now. That frame is 10 times more robust than the Super 73's frame. Let me tell you something. When you first take off with that Super 73, with that torque, you can feel that frame vibrating. Like under the seat, those little rails under the seat would actually sing a little bit. You know anything about frequency? When something vibrates, it'll emit a tone. When you first take off on that Super 73, that bike would make a squawk. And in the beginning, I tried to figure out what that squawk was. I was like, wow, is that the motor? Is it shifting? What's going on? And then I found where the squawk was coming from. It was actually the frame and the tubing under the seat. It was vibrating so hard that it was emitting a squawk when you first take off. So that bike was better if you pedaled, you got that wheel spinning first before you give it that initial torque. But Frank don't need that. Frank is solid. And not only that, because of that, I initially thought having a hardtail would, make the ride bad, and it doesn't. In fact, it makes the ride a whole lot more solid, because I believe that those little swing arms and those hinges that support the Super 73's rear. Now that Super 73 I had, that S2, that had a hardtail also. So I'm not talking about that one. Maybe I'm talking about the R series that has the rear suspension. But I noticed in a lot of the Reddit groups, and even a lot of the Facebook groups, I hear guys stating that when they get up over 30 miles per hour with the Super 73s, they experiment a whole, they feel a whole lot of vibration coming from the front forks and the rear, and it just doesn't feel as solid and sound. Now, like I told you, I just took about 50 pounds worth of batteries off of Frank. 50 pounds worth of batteries. And those batteries didn't hurt that frame at all. In fact, like I said, it gave it more of a road presence for sure. And it's no doubt in my mind, that bike, I said this before, you can put a gas engine on that frame. Make no mistake about it. You can put a gas engine on that frame and it can handle it. Now that Super 73 frame, just the way it felt in the back, the tubing under the seat, felt like this little bicycle frame over here. I swear to God. And pretty much that's what the tubing was around the seat on the back of that thing. Just like that little teeny ass bike right there. So, like I said, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that. It is what it is. You gonna hate me from telling the truth, then you gonna hate me a whole lot. Because I'm gonna tell the truth. Like I said, normally you guys ain't get to see all this because I had it covered up with batteries. But this bike, the frame is designed to blow your mind. As far as how sturdy it is, how structurally sound the Zugo Rhino is. Now, I can't speak for those step-through models, because those step-through models don't have that crossbar. But if you have the Zugo Rhino with that crossbar, that is a solid frame. And man, I would have been so mad. For one reason why I was going to sell Frank is because I had the opportunity to get a Super 73 cheap, well, kinda cheap. And that was only, I'll tell you about that in a minute. And somebody wanted to buy Frank. So I was going to sell Frank, and I figured, well, I can get my hands on this Super 73. Let me go ahead and do that and make a few dollars. And I want to move on to my next build anyway. But I'm so glad I didn't do it. I'm so glad I'm going to stay with upgrading Frank. I'm going to do the 120 volt battery system. No doubt about it. I almost changed my plan once again. And I learned the hard way before. You keep the game plan. The game plan is the 120 volt Frank, and that's the plan, and we gonna stay with it. Now, I got a little story to tell. And first I wasn't going to say anything about it, but it is what it is. It surely ain't no fault of my own. So, you know, I'm going to tell it like a TI is. Now, the Super 73 build, the S2. You guys seen me ride that bike all around, up and down the highways, the byways, speeding, flying anywhere. I had no problems at all. Unfortunately, I returned that bike to its owner. And initially he went on a camping trip. Camping trip went well, no problems, everything was good. I get a call the day before yesterday. It was his first attempt at commuting to work. And I get a call saying he commuted to work for the first time and the controller burned up. Smoke was coming from the controller. I immediately felt really bad and was stressing, trying to figure out what happened, what in the world could have happened. I rode that bike here, there, and everywhere. It wasn't having no problems at all. How in the hell did that happen? So I stressed my brain about that all morning long, and already had, got myself, damn these mosquitoes, already got myself situated to go and get the bike. I was going to stand by my work. I was going to replace the controller, repair it, do all that, and I was going to eat it, because that's what you do. You got to eat it when stuff goes wrong. But then I found out a little later on, with a little bit more conversation, that the reason why that Super 73 controller burnt up and smoked was no fault of my own. Now, if you can remember back to when that bike came here, that bike had a blown controller and a blown motor. And I tried to figure out, how the hell did that happen? How did a guy blow his controller and his motor? But anyway, I didn't think on it long. I just, I moved on. I said, well, we're going to remove everything off this bike. We're replacing everything anyway, so I ain't worried about it too much. Okay? So, anyway, come to find out that the same thing that blew up the controller this time was the same thing that blew up his stock controller and his stock motor the first time. Now, if this guy would have told me what he was dealing with, and I'm talking about his route to work, I would have came up with something a little different for him. But he never told me any of that. He never told me how he blew the motor up or anything. And I didn't ask. But let me tell you how. Okay. His commute, he works in Washington, D.C. And I'm not going to call any names or say who this guy is, because it doesn't matter. I'm keeping them, his name, and all that under wraps. I think I said his name before, but I didn't say his last name. But anyway, we're gonna keep all that on the low. Now, he commutes to work in Washington, D.C. And everybody knows there's hella traffic in Washington, D.C. So it's not an easy commute. It's stop and go, stop and go. And in the summertime, that's probably even worse, stop and go. So his commute is kind of long for the most part, especially with that stop and go. So by the time he gets near his job, his bike is already huffing and puffing because it's had quite a workout. But the last eighth of a mile before he gets to where he needs to be, there is a ginormous hill. A hill that you can't even approach with momentum. You know, as most hills, you want to get your speed built up before you get to the hill and going up the hill. No, this hill is on a switchback, whereas though there's a very sharp turn at the bottom. So you literally have to stop your bike and attempt to go up this ginormous steep of a hill from a dead stop. At the bottom of the hill. Now, he said to me, his Super 73 could never get up the hill. Stock. It always would quit a third of the way up. He have to get off and walk it. But he always tried. Third of the way up the hill, bike would quit, get off and walk it. That's a pretty damn steep hill. Okay? And that is why he ended up blowing a hall sensor in his motor the first time. Because heat and high current, overheating hall sensors and high current shorts them out. Then a shorted out hall sensor in turn will short out your controller, which was exactly what happened to his original stock Super 73 motor and controller. Now, the setup I put on his bike was for high speed, top end, a direct drive. And everybody that knows about e-bike motors knows that direct drive motors they're not the torquiest motors, they're speed motors. Actually, a gear-driven with a planetary drive, gear-driven motors have a whole lot more torque than a direct drive. And his initial motor was 1,000 watt Bafang gear-driven. That's what comes on a Super 73. And that blew up. So it's no way that a direct drive motor is going to go up that same hill just because it has more top speed but less torque, especially if you're attempting to go up the hill from a dead stop. Now, if he would have been rolling 20-30 miles an hour, I'm sure he could possibly go up the hill, and it probably would still be difficult. But to attempt to go up a hill like that from a dead stop is kind of ludicrous. And not only that, you ain't even pedaling to help it out. You know what I mean? You should be offering some human leg power along with that if you're going to attempt it. But you shouldn't even really attempt that or do that to an electric motor. Possible. Now, what I would have suggested to him, had I known, was possibly a dual motor setup. 2 motors, 2 controllers, 2 batteries, and they would have been gear-driven motors for more torque, like a Grizzly or something, a dual motor, dual direct drive setup. But that wouldn't have been possible either because this guy, he wasn't trying to spend a whole lot of money originally. You know, that's why he came to me, because I do stuff for the low on a budget. Now, he really didn't want to pay what he paid. So can imagine if I would have tried to design a system for him with 2 motors, 2 controllers, and 2 batteries. So that was out of the question. And honestly, what this guy needs most likely is a petrol bike to go up that hill, or he needs to find another route. But needless to say, the bike did make it to the top of the hill. But by the time it got to the top of the hill, the controller was smoking. And it should have been smoking, honestly. Because it had already made a long commute across town, and then it was asked to do the impossible while it was already hot. So therefore, I know that wasn't my fault. And believe you me, if it was my fault, I would have ate it, and I would have replaced the controller and did what I had to do to fix the motor. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But at the time, I had an option to buy that bike, and I was gonna buy it, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I was thinking about letting Frank go to somebody that really wanted Frank and was going to spend some money on Frank. But I would not have been happy with that Super 73. The frame is definitely inferior. And not only that, I really hated them bikes. I hated them because I feel like they were way overpriced. But like I said, I don't feel bad if I get something for a decent price, but I damn sure wouldn't even think about buying one for the full price. But anyway, we still got Frank, y'all. And I'm about to take some measurements and do the damn thing. But y'all heard what I said about the Super 73. Y'all seen me ripping and rolling all over the place with no problems. So tell me in the comment section, y'all let me know. Do y'all feel like that was my fault? And do you feel like if the guy already blew his bike up one time on that hill, would you have taken your brand new bike and attempted to do the same thing? Maybe he thought it had more power, which it did have more power, and maybe he thought it would get up that hill. But no, man, I wouldn't have did it. That's why I tell you guys all the time, when I see guys doing burnouts with electric motors, do you know how crazy that is? And if you're listening out there, believe me, do not do burnouts with your electric motor. An electric motor is a whole lot different from a combustion engine. When an electric motor is being stopped or a big load is placed upon it, all that controller does is pull more current. It pulls more current to try to overcome that load or stopping that motor. And those guys are going to find out the hard way in the summertime. Let it be hot like this in the summertime, and they continue to try to do burnouts. They're going to burn up them motors and their controllers. Make no mistake about it. Only thing might have been saving them guys is this wintertime. But anyway, alright, take that from me. Going up a steep ass hill that's probably on an angle, that's a hill, that's a normal hill, 45-degree incline. If you got a hill like that, that's, I don't know what you call that. That's not even a hill. Alright, y'all, take it easy, take care. Let that be a lesson to you.